more. In some places it looked like it started to get infected, but then it grew new leaves. So because I sprayed the neem oil, which is neem oil is supposed to
surprise, you're on video. She said she didn't even know I was taking her picture. We are out here in our devastated potato crop today. We've got early blight hitting them.
Yep. And oops. Oh dear. Get back under there, you. Potato trying to climb out.
So we're gonna try and save them, and maybe a lost cause if we have to cut too much of the plant off. But it's still early enough. What is it, June 1st? June 2nd. So may be able to salvage some of it. If we can get them to grow a little longer, there are some potatoes, as you saw in the last video, but they're small. So if we can get another couple weeks in there, that'll at least give us some kind of crop. And then I have to decide if I'm going to replant or if I'll just expand this sweet potato bed. But Teresa's going through, she's cutting off all the dead or disease that she sees, and there she goes, sterilizing her cutters in some alcohol so she doesn't accidentally spread the disease.
Sorry, potatoes.
And then that one, she said nope, has to go.
Now, I never was a big time potato grower, so I don't have a lot of experience with some of the tricks of growing potatoes. I read that even if you cut the whole plant down, you could leave the potatoes in the ground for a couple weeks and the skins will harden. So it'll be less damage to them when you go to dig them up. And since I've got a lot of plants that have not yet caught the disease, I thought, well, I'll try that. It's experimental. That's our buzzword this year.
This whole potato patch was just experimental for us.
Yeah.
This is our first time growing them, and now we're learning. We don't like to lose the crop, but you get the experience. So what we would do differently to protect against the blight is I probably spread them out just a little bit more when I plant them and give them more airflow around the leaves. And I might even, like we do with tomatoes, cut the bottom leaves off so nothing's touching the ground where the spores are. We might even trim them up a little bit. No, I don't know too many people that do that, but I might just do that. But I'll definitely try and leave more space between the potatoes.
Yeah.
So the potatoes right now are inside the area that we fenced from the deer, and I don't think that these plants would have been bothered too much by deer. So I think I'm going to move the potato patch outside of the fenced area, because I have, like sweet potatoes, they would definitely eat the leaves. So I might grow more sweet potatoes in here. So I may move everything. So while we're here, the sweet potatoes are here, and the weather was so cold, I should have let them stay in the house longer and put them, in glasses of water and let the roots establish on them a little bit better. So this row we did that on, and these went in the ground, and these are pretty, they're going to drop back like that before they take off, because of the shock of being planted in the ground instead of water. But next time, if I knew it was going to be this cool, the sweet potatoes like the warm weather, I would have just, waited some longer. And this is what we're doing to try and catch our moles and voles, whatever's in there. That we also have that kind of problem going on that we're fighting. So the ones in the buckets, they're over here. They're spread out a little more. I got them touching. I'm going to spread them out a little bit more so they don't touch each other. And they seem to be okay for now. And here's my watermelons coming up. Again, the weather's been so cold, we had trouble even starting these. It's cold at night. Now, during the day, like today, it's going to be 85 here. So those are honeydews. And those are watermelons. And that's watermelon and watermelon. So those are doing okay. So this area on the ground here, this was where we put stable sweeping. And you can see it's breaking down nicely. It's a little dusty. And then I put a little straw on top of it to keep the grass and weeds down. So, how bad is it, hon?
I think I'm going to try and spray with copper.
You're going to try and spray copper and keep them alive a little longer, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we heard you can spray them with copper, which we have, so we'll use the copper spray. And then there's other kinds of sprays you can make, homemade sprays you can make that also might help a little bit. But we'll try the copper first because we have experience using copper spray. Anyhow, she's doing a pretty good job there. She's got most of it. Like, I don't know. Like, when you see that, it's hard to tell how much of that you should take off.
I'll tell you what I have seen. A bunch of little tiny green potatoes uncovered.
Oh, she's uncovering.
So I'm covering over the
And
potatoes.
We didn't hill up enough.
And I see a huge tomato ripening down there.
Oh, no.
It'll go fast today.
She's got it in a sling.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it's out there, like when the wind blows, it rocks back and forth, back and forth. Why would it want to be picked? There's plenty of water and plenty of sun. And you can see the ground there. She mulched with grass clippings. So yeah, if I have to plant potatoes, they're going outside the fenced area. Now these guys, the sweet potatoes, they're going to take over this whole area anyhow.
Next is experimental sweet potatoes climbing a fence. My husband wants to grow them in bags so he doesn't have to dig them.
Yeah, I don't like getting down on my hands and knees, especially since I hurt my knee. Anyhow, this is what we're doing. You saw the other video when we first saw something was wrong with one, and Teresa dug it up to see if a vole or something had eaten the roots, but nothing. We couldn't see anything. But a couple days later, we know what it was.
Yep.
So that video is back, 2 or 3 videos ago if you want to see that.
And we will keep the records and watch next year.
Keep the records and watch next year. Yeah. So I told Teresa that's it. I gave up gardening. I quit. It's too scoured, too hard work, and then to have blight hit your potatoes like that. No, it's too much work. I go buy a 50-pound bag of potatoes at the farm.
Yeah, if you want to pay the price.
Well, it's not the price. I mean, it is the price, but it's also, we know that, there's no chemicals or whatever hitting these, only what we put on them. So what else do we have pest-wise going on? We had gold flies, you said, or something?
Yeah, I haven't seen them now. They responded to the diatomaceous earth. But I have to keep my eye out for new damage. But that's easy. You get the diatomaceous earth and just kind of sprinkle it. I used to put it in a plastic ketchup squirter and poof it. You can buy mechanisms that will poof it out. Do not inhale it. It's a carcinogen if you get it in your lungs.
Yeah.
The white potatoes, I think the DE got rid of the potato bugs. They're a hard-shelled beetle. Pretty. But they must have laid eggs because now I have all these little tiny larvae type bugs. They're not maggots exactly. They're little round red things. And when you squeeze them, they pop. So they're not going to be affected as much by the DE because they're small and they're soft. So...
That sounds so disgusting.
Yeah. I'm kind of immune to popping bugs with my fingers.
Not me. Teresa can come out here. She sees the little larvae. I come out here and I look closely and I stare at those plants and I don't see a thing. And she's like, "There's one right in front of you." I'm like, "No, there isn't." And she comes over and points it out, and then of course I see it. But my eyes aren't trained like that yet. She sees everything. At nighttime, I think she's in the bedroom and she can hear the bugs munching on her plants. Sorry, that's just a joke. First thing we got up this morning, she says, "I got to get out there and cut those potatoes." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
I think there must be something to the idea of pruning the lower leaves and keeping them from touching the ground.
Right.
Because these yellow leaves, the potato blight seems to start on the lower
Start on the
leaves.
bottom, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I see it.
yeah.
So, and then the mold spores are in the ground, so that's why you don't want it. And now, once they're here in the ground, this ground is going to have them.
Yeah.
Even till next year, because there's not much I can do to kill it, I don't think.
Nope.
But anyhow, we're out here. We're not too pleased. But it's not totally wiped out yet, but we'll see if we can save them. We'll give it a shot. And I guess we'll let you know. But right now, not looking good. So this is Charlie and Teresa, Garden for Two. Thanks for watching on a kind of bummer day.